Hey guys, and welcome to my Zamorak God Wars guide, and in this guide I will show you the methods to kill it solo. I'm not going to go into duo or, multi-people teams. You don't really need to do that for Zammy. It's really easy. And I'll just show you the method of killing them, the gear setups, the stats and everything like that. And yeah, let's just go straight into it, guys. So before you actually attempt this, you need to know some basic information about the boss. So there's some menial information like the combat level, obviously. The weakness, it does have a fire spell weakness, so definitely use this fire spell when you're maging. And then for the total experience, that is the combat plus HP, and that's just the boss. That does not include the, the actual minions with him. With the minions, it's roughly like 10k total experience, but for the actual XP rate on the top right, that does include the minions. So it is roughly 500k plus per hour if you are getting about 60 kills per hour. And you can easily get that with tier 90s, and you can almost get to 500k with tier 80s. If you're really fast, you might be able to, but it's around 450 all the way up to 600k an hour, depending on your methods and how fast you are. And if you're also on a Slayer task, you also get 2,000 Slayer experience. And for the money on the top right, it's kind of variable. That's why I did 1 to 3 mil an hour, because just the commons, you'll get probably a mil plus per hour. And if you get any splits with that, that can skew the hourly rate. So it's 1 to 3 mil an hour. It's just very variable. You just got to know that. Now for the recommendations here, there is one requirement that is 70 HP. I do have to mention that just for the fact that it's a requirement, but if you're going here, you should have over 70 HP just for the fact you're going to have higher combat in general. And speaking of combat, I would recommend at least maybe 85, 90 combat. It's really up to your playstyle, but just make sure you do have tier 80s at least at the bare minimum. And tier 90s obviously would definitely help out here. And as for the support combat skills, 95 prayer, I just said that just for the fact that you can have soul split and, turmoil, anguish, and torment. With that, you don't necessarily need that, because if you just have 70 for piety or, the other of the regular prayers, you can still go here. It's just soul split really does help here, and it makes it so it's very AFK almost. And that's for the herb lore. I just said 88 plus because that allows you to boost up for every single extreme. You don't necessarily need overloads, but it does really help. And then for summoning, I would recommend at the lowest having a tortoise, just so you can bring more food and prayer pots. But obviously if you have a yak or even a steel titan, those are much better. And finally for the quest, I would recommend at the bare minimum having Edgar's Ruse, just so you can teleport to Trollheim, so it's very close. Otherwise you can use the God Wars teleport tab from the Mighty Fall quest. That is the best method of getting here. So just have 1 or 2 of those quests. And moving on to the gear of magic, I am only going to be showing you the magic method because from testing and everything like that, they're all decent here, magic, melee and range, but magic is quite superior compared to all of them, and I would just recommend doing magic. I mean, obviously you can melee, but I would not opt to do that. Just stick with mage. It's very good at Zammy, especially because its weakness is, fire spells. But for the gear, I'd recommend right away having Slayer Helm if you are on task for greater demons. Other than that, I would just recommend having Sea Singers, superior version, Virtus or Subjugation, depending on your playstyle. If you do want to have a really long trip, I would recommend having the Port's Armor. But if you want to have really fast kills and want to pay attention, I would recommend having Virtus or Subjugation for the DPS aspect. But it's really up to your playstyle. For me, if I went here, I would probably use Virtus or maybe even Subjugation, but I will be showing Sea Singers on the guide. Just use whatever boots and gloves that I listed that fit your style. And for the necklace, you can use an Amulet of Souls. I did not write it just because it's not really needed. It's just if you have it, it's really not worth using. But in my opinion, I would rather just use the Demon Horn necklace with the Ectoplasm Matter, and that way you can conserve a lot of your prayer and make it a lot more easy here. Pick whatever ring, cape, aura, or whatever you want. And as for the weapons, I would recommend having a Noxious, obviously, or you can even use Seismics if you have those. And for the tier 80s, use Chaotix or the Virtus. It really doesn't matter. Both are pretty decent, but I would recommend the 2H versions of all of them. And finally, for the magic inventory, you can just copy my inventory setup if you really wanted to. And first off, if you do not have Soul Split, I would recommend using a anti-poison plus potion, just for the fact that it will save a lot of HP. But if you're soul splitting, it really is not that big of a problem. And if you have the attuned Ectoplasm Matter, I would use that in conjunction with the Demon Horn necklace. And with that, you really don't have to bring the prayer pots that I'm bringing. Just bring like 2 or 3. And even further, if you have a prayer aura, you really do not have to worry at all. Don't forget your food and runes, your yak scrolls, and fill up your yak with food and some prayer pots. But overall, it's really standard. Now that you know the gear and everything like that, let's go into the actual killing of the Zammy God Wars. So first of all, get to the God Wars by any method you want. The God Wars teleport, the Trollheim teleport, run north, or even go through Death Plateau. It really doesn't matter. Just get there and then go down the rope. Now that you're there, the Zami God Wars is north of the entrance. And personally, I would kill the monsters outside of the bridge first with your prayer going on, just so you can use up your prayer, because once you go over the bridge, you lose your prayer. And I would recommend killing any of these Zami guys, or you can go into the actual hideout and kill the imps. There's about 4 or 5 in there, and it is pretty quick kill count, and even faster if you do quick hopping. So quickly get your kill count and go to the entrance of the boss. Alright, so for actually killing the Zami God Wars, I'm starting a kill. I'm actually like a little bit into the trip. I've just been testing a few things before I commentate. First of all, I mean, to start off each kill, if you do have the adrenaline, you won't have it for the first kill, but I would definitely use Sunshine just for the fact that it does give you a lot more damage output. And when it hits half HP like it just did, I would do Debilitate for most kills. You don't have to do it every single kill, but it does help with the food aspect if you are, running out of food, because what Debilitate does, it halves the enemy's damage on you. He does have a special attack when he's under 50% HP that he smashes on the ground and it ignores your prayer. That's why Pray Melee does not really work here. You have to either Soul Split or Pray Mage or something. Pray Meleeing doesn't really have the greatest effect here. So you just got to be wary about that. And remember when I said to use the attuned Ectoplasm Matter, you have to use that in conjunction with the Demon Horn for like full efficiency. Don't use Demon Horn alone. You do need this Ectoplasm Matter to, get the effect of, just automatically burying the ashes. You don't have to worry about that. And it does restore most of your prayer. And it's just a very good combo for the prayer aspect. But if you do not have those things, you don't have 90 dunge for that amulet, I would recommend using a Dragon Rider amulet just for the fact that it gives you more DPS with the Fire Breath ability. So again, this boss is very simple. It drops food almost every other kill, so you don't really have to worry about food if that is a struggle for you. Most of the problem with Zami and staying a long time is the prayer. So in between kills, I would Dren stall as much as possible, and I would turn off your prayers just for that moment. I would start off Sunshine every other kill. It usually works out to be that way in fast spawn. Yeah, remember, if you are on a Slayer task of either Black Demons or Greater Demons, it does work really well here. The only thing you have to remember is that if you have Greater Demons, you'll have bonus damage on the boss and only one of the minions. But if you have the Black Demon task, you only have bonus damage on 2 of the minions. So Black Demons really is not the most viable method here for Slayer. But you still can go here if you're a Zami fanatic and you do want to have that task done. Now for the last thing, if you do not have Soul Split and you don't have curses in general, you just have 70 prayer, probably just use the Pray Mage like I said earlier, and I would use Devotion as much as possible. Again, this boss is one of the easiest ones here. You just have to worry about sometimes you can get just wrecked right there at 4k. If I was debilitated right there, I would be only hit a 2k. You just have to watch out for that. But if you have Soul Split, Knock Staff, and everything else, I mean, you can usually Soul Split all of that HP back. For the regular drops, Zami does have the best in the God Wars, and it has pretty decent rare drops as well. So overall, it's one of the best God Wars to camp. But in all honesty, they're all pretty bad to camp right now. If you have the stats to camp them, like if you're my level and stuff, you have full everything, I would just move up to do a higher boss like Nex or Rots or even KK. It's really not good to camp here. I would only do this for the pets or for the experience, because the experience, as you guys saw, was really good. It's over 500k experience per hour if you are getting 60 kills per hour. So yeah, that is the guide of Zamorak God Wars. Hopefully it did help you a little bit. That's the reason I made the video. Tell me your thoughts on the guide. I would love to have some constructive criticism, because I try to get better on each guide that I make. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.